Well, hello, welcome to Drawing with Fire. I'm Valarie, your neighborhood pyrography artist. I'm going with hubby.
Okay.
Got it right this time. And today we are starting the snake, and I already have a headache from it. No fun. I made a bad pattern, and so I guess that will be part of our lesson today. What happens when you make a bad pattern? Hey, Kathy, Sheila, Cindy. So as you can tell, and it might be easier if I pull up the smaller one that I printed. Well, here is our full photo. I finally got it where I wanted it. Got the rock, got it angled. It's slightly different from the original because I had to change perspective. And I'm not putting in every bit of it, but this is the photo for it. Alrighty. That's a black and white for it. This is the smaller pattern that printed. My first mistake, because the red is supposed to be marking out where the bright highlights of the white are for the snake body. I shouldn't have printed the red. Shouldn't have done it. And because this was such a small pattern, what I did was I was zooming in to see detail and was drawing it in. That was my second mistake. What I should have done is left the constraint that this is the size of my board. It's a 7 by 8 3/4. That's how it cut down to. And I should have left the picture no bigger than 7 and 8 3/4. Because then my brain would have said, okay, I'm only seeing these darks and that darks, and that's how these are laying out. Excuse me. And the pattern would have been much simpler. But that's not what I did. So, lesson learned. When it comes to something small, keep it at the size that you want it to be, printout wise for your transfer, and don't zoom in, because some of this information, it blends into nothingness or just shapes, and I should have done it this way. Now, because I've been working on so much, I have not gotten a lot of the pattern transferred. And when I say so much, is not only did I have this to get done, and I'm now starting on the commission, my brain decided on Friday night it would be fun to put a new piece of furniture together in my studio and make a mess. So this part is clean because everything's over there. So, yep. All these lessons to learn. Alright. What you'll see, these lines, they're very faint, and that's to line up in case the tape comes off, and then I don't have to worry about as much if I've lined up correctly because I've got these register marks. Alright, that's all I got in so far. So we're going to zoom in. Hey, Kathy, Andrea, Teresa. I'm guessing Burrow will not be in as it is a snake, and I don't blame her. We talked about phobias last week. Totally get it. We're going to start with the eye, which transfer-wise, my line is thicker than it should be. And I do have a reference photo like the one you're looking at right here, only even more zoomed in, so I can see what lays where and get that right. So let's go ahead. And this is the 9MS on 2.5, and this is basswood that I'm burning on.
How's our sound?
Should be good. Now, let's get this ledge in. Curve it around like it's supposed to be. And I gotta remember my photo is bigger than the actual lines, and so I don't want to get off on size. And a lot of this is going to look like outlining, and that's just the nature of the snake, the scales. Alrighty. See here, this one that way. I have the eye.
Good. Sound is great.
Oh, good. Yep, the heater's off.
Thank you, Teresa.
I actually may need to go in with a bigger tip to fill in the eyeballs smoothly.
As Sheila says a lot better than last week.
Good. Yeah, the heater's off. So I do need to switch pins. I'll leave that one because we will use it. Let's see here. We are going to go to the 19S. And we're going to keep the same heat temperature. I'm just going to flip over. Now you will be seeing an Optima pin that is not available. I'm still testing it. But for this project, it actually will make my life easier size-wise.
Why is that?
Because it's smaller. It's a smaller shader. Again, it is not available as of yet. But hopefully it'll get there. I didn't like it for hair, but I do. We'll see if we like it for scales.
Okay.
Alrighty. So, I'm going to have to burn over that anyway. It's dark. Alright, let's get our eye in. Paying attention to the shape because it's not a perfect oval. And it curls to under this ridge, so we have to pay attention to that. And it comes down. And we get a little bit of lighter here from the light. So let's get that in there. We have a highlight here, and based on how I did the lighting for the background, it should make sense. I'm going to drop that in. Alrighty. And we have a snake eyeball. It was that quick.
Yeah.
That quick. Alrighty. And let's see here. Let's find another dark spot since I've got this. Now they have a little, let's see here. They have nostrils. Kind of. Yeah, I am not versed in snake anatomy. So, I'm going to have to take that with a sliver of salt. See what I did there?
Yes.
See what I did there? Alrighty. And then we have our nostril-ish spot. Okay, I did a crappy job on my pattern, and this is really hurting me because of that. Alright. Definitely pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Let's see here. It's a bad pattern. It happens. And because I've already started burning, I'm not going to be able to like redraw the pattern. I'm going to have to unfortunately suffer through this one. But it's small. Good learning tool. There we go. So I am going to be open-minded about this and still believe it's going to come out okay.
That's good.
What are you saying?
I'm saying you can get negative sometimes. You get pretty hard on yourself.
Well, I know I screwed this up, so
That's okay.
anybody else, I would tell you just to redo it. But, and if it was me, normally I would redo it. But in this particular case,
Well, it's just because it's live, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. We got shading over here. See, on the head, it may look like we're using the ball tip the most.
Kathy says, "You got this, girl."
Deep breath.
And
That's all we can do,
to
right?
which I add, mm-hmm.
Yes. I should have done a better job. But,
Andrea says, "You have this."
let's see here.
I believe in you as well. Just for the
We
record.
have a line here. Just for the record.
Just for the record. I don't get left out.
Get that in there. Curve.
There we go.
I would definitely say for smaller, less information was needed.
Yeah.
And I kept going.
Well, that's actually a really relevant observation, especially considering the commission that you have. So.
Luckily, that's just a portrait.
Just.
Well, it's also a large one.
Yeah.
See, larger does make things easier in this particular situation. Yeah, so we got a lot more freehanding going on. Good thing I can do it.
Yes, you can.
I can do it. But if other people felt uncomfortable with it, that's a little bit more of what I'm concerned about. So we got lighter. I'm just gonna. Luckily, we got a lot of texture in here. So yeah, like shade of the ridge, the eye ridge, whatever they call it. Just a few taps, and we got that in there.
Kathy says it looks like we have a buffer, but I have not seen that. That might be on your end, Kathy.
I hope not. I know we tend to be. You guys tend to be 30 seconds behind us. Let's see here. I'm gonna take away some graphite. Right here. Little bitty. Luckily, with these erasers, you can cut just a corner of them off. These, and there we go. There we go.
That's weird.
What?
Well, okay.
Are we buffering now?
No, we're not buffering. Look up for a second. What is this up here?
That, what, the hand?
Yeah.
That is my branding for the channel, so if somebody steals the video, they have to try to cut it out.
Okay. Because it's not appearing here.
Because this is... Oh. Huh. I don't know.
Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
I just noticed it.
I don't know.
So, I don't know.
Is it normally like that?
No, it's not normally like that.
You know what? If we're streaming and it's working, I'm not messing with anything.
Okay.
I'm not messing with anything if it's working. Alrighty. Let's get this orb better. So yeah, a lot of this is just tapping and dragging out. This can go wider. You don't think that a 7 by 8 3/4 will be very small to actually have the printout. Alrighty. So now we're going to skip down. We're going to do the tongue. Yep, we're going to do the tongue. So I can get that in there. I have that landmark in there. The tongue is pretty straightforward. Again, I'm going to use a pen not currently available, although if I like it enough, it should become available. But I'm going to actually leave it where it's at because we have a dark tongue. So we have a bit of highlight on the top where it's coming out of the mouth, and then it just gets dark. We can put a little bit of dimension to it with lights and darks. Sorry, I haven't even finished my second cup of coffee today. Yeah. Alrighty. Ooh, it's gonna be dark.
Okay.
Yeah, it's at 2.5. Again, I'm on basswood, so this is gonna be a dark. All right, what this tip is this is the 18S. Because I might as well give it. So this is the 18S. This is a hot 18, tentatively called 18S extra small. There we go. See the difference in size? It's quite a bit of difference. I was surprised.
It looks a lot more narrow and less curvy.
Yeah, it's a little thicker on the edge. So I actually still like these two for hair. I didn't like it for hair. But for what we're doing here, it'll be perfect. So, but at 2.5, it's still really hot on basswood. Because remember, it's a smaller tip. Alright, that'll be good. So let's go in for our test. And this is basically test. Pat was probably going to be, you showed it on camera, didn't you? You did it, didn't you? I'll get that message in a couple of days. It'll be, but I needed it. And it was live. Alright. What I'm doing is I'm trying to put where there's going to be some lights.
Okay, that's so weird.
What did it do now?
Well, I've just noticed this. So, I mean, and this is probably something that's been happening all along.
What's that?
I'm just noticing it because I'm a health cow. So,
okay. What?
I notice the orientation of your reference and the orientation of your working piece.
I don't.
It's opposite.
I flipped it intentionally for this.
Oh.
Because if I kept it the other way, it was going to be off, so I intentionally flipped it so we could see the reference.
Okay.
Without it, yeah.
I
did that one.
thought for some reason that the reference flipped around unintentionally.
No.
I was trying
did
to
it.
figure out why
I did
was
it.
doing it.
I did it.
Sorry, folks. Not a technical difficulty. Just have Cap.
Difficulty.
Not in the loop. Out of the loop.
I didn't think it would be an issue.
I'm trying to be more observant, you see.
You did awesome. You did awesome. Good job.
I'm a lot like Layla. Like, hey, there's a noise. She barked at the printer earlier. She was like, hey, there's something going on over here in this corner. Hey, you better come check this out. This is serious. Like, Layla, it's a printer. No. It's making noise.
It's something else.
It's angry.
Alrighty. It made it a little dark and a little off, but you know what? It's okay. Let's see here. Alright. Now, and what I'm doing is I'm doing most of the bottom. Now I'm angled over to the side. Shape it. Keep the tongue. Right now it looks off because I don't have it all in. So let's get it in there. I made it a little wider than I wanted. Still on camera? No.
I'm watching right now.
No, I wasn't. I was like off.
Alright. Oh, you can fire me then.
Nah. I already put a ring on it. You're stuck.
I had no idea when I applied for this job that would mean so many things. Like, wait, I gotta marry you?
That's what the ring meant.
Oh.
That's why your hand was tied to mine.
I'm just doing this for the insurance.
You're screwed.
Oh, man.
You're screwed. Alright, so I'm liking this tip, actually. I'll have to tell Pat.
Looks like it
and this is at 2.
looks like it goes smooth. So I find it interesting how you're creating that, like, sharper contrast by running the edge of it.
Screw that one up.
So it's not a line, but you're eliminating the fuzziness of it to match the snake's tongue.
Right here I got off the edge, but you know what? Pine needles are right here. So I ain't gonna worry about it. For now. I'm not gonna worry about it. For now. Alrighty. So we got that in there. Where is our next dark? Now we have these scales. Let's see here. How am I gonna do this? I'm gonna lower my heat to 1.5. I'm gonna go to 1 actually with this tip. Cool it off for a second as I think. Alright, so under here we have our white. And this part sticks out, it has more white, this has more gray because it's underneath and so the muscles are curling around it. We don't have any real high highlights other than the light hitting on the side here, here, here. Alright, so I've bumped down.
You have a call coming in.
Oh, hang it up. Hang it up.
Yeah.
That wasn't. It was probably something about the warranty of your car. I need to put this back on the do not call list. Alright. So let me think. Think. Quick brain. Because I am. That's still hot. Again, this is basswood, so it's always going to burn hotter than birch. And I bent down to half. We are going to start tapping in some of our darks without being overly. I can kind of put the shape in. And I can always go back and put in the white highlights to shape out the scales more. Alright, put that in there. Remember, in the beginning, really helps if you're looking at your pattern more than you're burning. Because it means you're keeping up with it.
Yeah, I think when you, I mean, depends on what your intent is, but if you want to be accurate, if you focus more on the thing that you're drawing, like the actual activity, a lot of times your brain will start go off script.
Yeah.
Start doing stuff on its own, like, oh, that looks good. Let's put this over here. Yeah, that'll look great. My brain does this all the time, that's how I know.
Oh. Mine doesn't quite.
Hey, Joker's here.
Hey, Mike. Alright. So this is all at a half with basswood. Let's see right now. Let's go. This curves here. He or she has a white spot right here. And I don't know if that's specific for a reason, meaning it's a certain type of scale or area. It's sensor. That's the word I was looking for. Brain did not want to use that word. Let's see here. Yeah, this tip is definitely making things in this subject easier because I can use just the tip. There we go. Remember, white is not always fully white. And if the white area looks a little dark, I'm not going to stress about it because when I go and put the highlights that are around it in, it's going to darken it up. So I'm not going to stress. No stress.
At some point, Joker changed his icon to Bender from his Now I can't read Joker's comments without hearing Bender's voice.
I guess like I can't look at my son's arm without hearing Bender's voice. Why he did that, I don't know.
He had a really deep reason for it.
You can never have a deep reason with Bender. Alright, so where we have, let's see here, what we got? I'm going to turn it all the way down. It's all the way down. And the reason I'm doing that is I want to work down here, which you do need lighter. And I am just tapping in. Now this tip burns with very little heat. So we've got our mouth. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to do hash marks because I don't want outlines of it. So I'm just bouncing the tip.
Joker says I may actually sound like Bender. Well, in my mind you do, so.
Trying to hold it more flat. I may have to switch tips. for a lighter burn.
What would you switch to?
That's a good question, because...
That's why I asked it.
I know.
It's the only kind I asked.
No, you can't take my words. It's my words. Because only I get the good ones.
Well, apparently, since we're contracted, I'm contracted. I'm contracted. I have to do what you say.
Alrighty. You know what? Let's take some of this graphite off.
Contractually obligated. Yeah.
Let's see how off I am. Let's put some more shading in here because it's not completely white. Let's see how much of a head on the snake we have. Let's see, this actually curves down a little bit. And now there's a rock behind this head. And you can't see it right now. There's a rock right here. Tonal value is tonal value of the rock right here. Wait, plus we got a leaf that I did include in the pattern. The snake is actually darker here along compared to the rock. But I can always darken that up later. Not gonna stress about it. No stress. Alright, let's get some graphite off and see what our snake is looking like, considering, to recap, yes, you joined us, a bad pattern. I did. No, don't fall. A bad pattern for this. Let's see how we're looking. Well, we're looking like a snake.
Yeah, it looks really good so far.
Let's back it out to the size it's viewed at. It's a snake.
Yeah.
I need to definitely work on the tongue. Excuse me. I need to reshape that a little bit better. Mm-hmm. Oh, we're off. Alrighty. So that's what I got in 30 minutes. And that is the pattern if you're just joining us. Bad pattern. Too much information.
Psychedelic.
Yeah, it's just too much. I don't recommend putting in this information. I shouldn't have printed the red, which if you weren't here at the beginning, the red represents white in the pattern. The high whites. I shouldn't have put that in there. It makes it, it's just too busy. The green is fine. That's all the leaf litter and the rocks and pine cones. Like there's a pine cone here, a pine cone here. That isn't an issue. But what I should have done is make sure that the photo I was working on in Photoshop was the same size that I wanted to print it out. And then not zoomed in any closer, because in doing so, yeah, I could see more information, but in seeing more information, it made the pattern more overwhelming. Like the rattle. Rattle's perfectly fine. But all the scales, I put too much information.
Mainly because you were zoomed in so far, right?
Because I was zoomed in too far, and I should not have gone any bigger than the 7 by 8 3/4 size wood that I knew I was putting it on. So no bigger than the picture shouldn't have been any bigger than this pattern right here. And then a lot of this information, we would have seen scales in the front, but we would have seen even less back here, less right here. In fact, even zoomed in, I can see less here. And these are just going to be tapping in of the tip, as long as I got the right shape. Don't really have to do much with that.
Well, if you have the pattern like that, we can just change the name of the show.
To what?
Welcome to Valerie's Rainbow Psychedelic Journey.
I do this for a reason. The snake is done in blue.
Take your mushrooms now.
Take your mushrooms now. The snake is blue. The outline is blue because that is my subject. I did green because that is my background. These are just visual triggers for my brain to know I'm switching over. So I will have this off to the side so I can look at it as well. And if I can't figure out, just looking at the reference for whatever reason, what one particular line is, if it's green, I know it's a background line. So when I'm burning it, I'll burn it differently than the snake. So they're just visual cues. Some people print out their pattern, whatever it is, in all black, and to me it gets even more. If I would have printed this all in black, our brains just would have been seeing a blob.
It would have been hard to pick out things.
To discern anything this way, because even in our reference photo, we have a little bit of a hard time discerning the snake. Yeah. And I did try using Photoshop to switch it over to copier to see if maybe if I'd be able to see lines and know what was going on. Yeah. Photoshop could not even figure out what the photo was. It was just a blob of lines that made zero sense whatsoever. So.
Well, you're getting a lot of nice comments so far.
Thank you.
And Cindy is still working on her portrait.
Totally.
Won't be doing a snake, but she'll be watching the work.
Now, remember, this snake is not a community project one. This one is a gift. When I'm done, will be a gift for our neighbor across the street, who helped us so much during our blizzard and 2.5 feet of snow. He helped so much with snow blowing our sidewalks that we didn't have to dig out 2.5 feet of snow, which hurts.
It was nice.
Especially when you're dealing with 2 disabled butt heads. It hurts.
Yep.
Because he likes to throw ice in my face.
That happened years ago.
It was a snowball right here. Froze my glasses to my face. Couldn't see.
I thought we were beyond that. I was showing her an ancient Alaskan snowball fighting technique. It worked.
Between the eyes.
I didn't mean to be so accurate, but old habits die hard.
During that snowstorm, we had 2 feet of snow on the ground. And so when he hit me, I was standing in the snow and pretend that this is so knees work properly. In the snow, I went, doop! Into the snow. It was awesome. I'm sure the neighbors all thought that was quite interesting. Alrighty, enough of that. So yeah, this is a gift. I'm not making. Person. No, you're not. I'm not making this pattern available to the Super Toasties because this one is a personal one to our friend across the street who works for the Arizona Game and Fish. I honestly thought he was going to tell me a deer when I asked him his favorite animal. I was quite surprised when he said rattlesnake.
You know what's weird to me?
I thought I was going to be doing a deer.
Because where I grew up, it was fishing game.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. And it just sounds weird to me the other way around. I guess there's more game here than fish, whereas in Alaska there's
more fish.
A lot of fish. And
Texas,
it's just the Department of Jackalopes and Stetsons. Mustaches.
We're missing Spence. Hey, go how we are signing off. This is the mess. The whole backstory to it. Alrighty, so next week I will have all of the snake transferred. And we will work next week on the we'll work on the rattle. Because there's some really interesting curves in the rattle and how it's lit. And then we'll also take the rattle into the background that is blurry because it's the furthest from the camera. So that we don't see all the details here. These are really just going to be strokes that are quick and blurry versus these up front. So I think that we're going to work on this area next week. Following week, we'll work on an area like this, just specific to the scales. And then the last week we will discuss the pine needles, because I know that might feel overwhelming. Alrighty.
Appreciate all the likes. It always helps us out. Thank you for coming and watching. was good hanging out with you all.
Yes.
Nice comments from everybody.
Well, because they're awesome. All right, you know what to say with me.
Yep.
You got this. You're awesome. You can do this. Why? Because you're a burning artist. You're a pyro artist. I screwed it up.
I was like, you changed that.
I screwed it
You
up.
threw me off.
Excuse me.
Goodness.
Colin's been up last week. I screwed it up. Well, you're a burning artist and a pyro artist. How's that? Both of them work.
Yes.
They both work. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're new.
We need to play you out. It's time. Yeah.
We will see you next week. Happy burning, guys. Bye.